Hello again, everyone. Starting a little early here. We're going to do screen sharing for this. Bear with me. I'm looking at my phone while I'm starting it because I don't think people are supposed to be watching yet, but I guess people that come on later will all be watching it. Doing screen sharing this time, so I'm not going to be able to see comments. Let me try this real quick because I think when I go back to the Facebook page, yeah, it just turns into this infinite loop thing. So we won't be on the Facebook page. So if you have comments or questions during the live session that officially starts in about 2 minutes at 8:30, if you have questions and you're part of the live session, just go ahead and email them to me. I have my phone with me, so I should get emails while I'm doing the live session. And my email is spinistry@gmail.com. I'll give this message out throughout our little Rat 1000 Facebook Live meeting that we're having. Again, if you have questions, comments, or concerns, let's try to email those to me because I won't be able to see the Facebook dialog box from the screen share. Again, my email address is spinistry@gmail.com. And to be perfectly honest with you, this will probably be our last actual Facebook Live meeting of this sort. We'll see if we can figure it out. I think we'll do better going forward just to have folks message questions, and then I can record a broadcast and put that up. The Facebook Live stuff, although it is cool, and I am not dissing it, it's still not quite there for this type of purpose. Hopefully, y'all can hear me fine. If there's anybody on there yet, let me go back to the infinite loop. Peter, Christine, David. So I can see the dialog box at the moment. Can you all hear me okay? Is the audio okay, I hope? Hello, hello? Well, we're going to fake it. We're going to pretend like you guys can hear me, because I know last night on the other broadcast, my dialog box was not updating. I'm going to do a quick check here. Yeah, we get a little bit of feedback there. Okay, so I'm going to assume the mic's working fine. My email address again is spinistry@gmail.com. We won't have the dialog box for me to reference, so if you have questions, please email them to me if you're on the live session. If you catch up with us later, I will reply to all the comments that do show up, and that is part of the functionality that I found last night that I don't think we'll be able to use this going forward. Facebook seems to decide which comments it wants to show and not, for whatever reasons. So if there were questions from last night that I didn't answer, I apologize. Facebook didn't seem to show me everything. It kept saying, well, there are more messages and there are more comments, but we don't think you want to see them. So I'm not sure what that's about. So we're going to talk about the rat tonight. If you're not aware, this is Kevin with Spinistry. Thank you all for joining us. We did get a few questions sent our way, so we're definitely going to address those. We're going to talk about some generalities. This will not be the be-all and end-all meeting, though. This is just kind of an initial meeting, initial feedback, answer some basic questions that are out there. I'm sure there will be more questions as more people come aboard, sort of thing. So I can see us having some of these types of sessions every week or two between now and the rat. Because quite frankly, the rat itself is a pretty fluid situation right now. We've got some really broad stroke ideas that we're narrowing down day by day. So all the details aren't filled in yet. We don't expect them to be filled in at this time. We'll be finishing out details probably up until the week before the event for the most part. I expect to have 80% of it done by the end of August, 90% of it done by mid-September, and then 95% and narrowing it down to 100%, most likely, maybe even rolling up to the start on day one. So if you have a lot of questions, that's fantastic. Keep asking the questions. A great place to start is our RAT 1000 discussion group on Facebook. If you're on board with this RAT 1000 meeting right now and you're not part of the RAT 1000 discussion group, that's probably the first place you'll want to go after we get done with tonight's meeting. But again, and we'll start talking about things in just a second here. One more last reminder: if anyone else has come in the past minute or so, I won't be using the Facebook dialog box. I'm sharing my screen, so I won't be going back to the Facebook page to share the dialog box. So if you have questions or comments, please email them to me. If you are on the live session, please email them to spinistry@gmail.com. If I get email messages along the way, I will reference them. Like I have one right now from David. We hear you just fine. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate that. Okay. Take care of some business, literally, at the very front end of this, and then we're gonna dive down into the rat stuff. If you're not aware, this is a very rare site. This is a very happy Kevin, and I want. Today was a very exciting day for us. The Spinistry mobile is back in action, and this is integral to the rat. This is so huge, and if you read my hat, it's Tommy's, and it's because of these fantastic guys here at Tommy's High Tech Auto in Denton that the Spinistry mobile is now rat ready. This is a fantastic group of folks. If you need any automobile work done, please go check these guys out. Even if you're not in Denton County, it's worth the stretch. They do fantastic work. Hey, I'll be the first to say they are not the least expensive group out there. They're not crazy expensive compared to others, but if you're looking for the low buck shade tree guys, these aren't them. This is a first-rate operation. They probably have the most professional mechanics in North Texas as a whole, and they do fantastic work, and they are huge supporters of us. Without them, the Spinistry mobile would not be rolling. Let's go back to that happy picture and that beautiful Spinistry mobile. Without them, it wouldn't be rolling yet. And Michael and the guys at Tommy's they're coming on board as a Team Spinistry sponsor as well. We'll have some announcements on that. So if you need some automobile work done in the near future, your Team Spinistry membership is going to pay off. And I'm guessing that most people that are signed up for the rat so far are most likely Team Spinistry members for the most part, because that gets you that huge discount, even free for some of the rat up to this point, 50% off going forward for all the rat events. And then second piece of business, this is also extremely important. These are our other rat sponsors. We'll have more coming on board over time as well. But Redshift Sports and Tommy's High Tech Auto, Redshift, they have the amazing shock stop stem. I do ride this stem, and I ride this stem. They were not a sponsor. I was riding this on my own, and I reached out to them. It's like, we need to find a way to work together. And they heard about the rat, and they got back to me and said, hey, this is a good fit for us. So they're involved with the rat as rat participants. You get discounts on the Redshift Sports products. I have the shock stock stem. This thing is amazing. It is everything you could imagine it could be. And I also have their quick swap aero bars. These are so cool. I actually have the alloy version. I'm not the weight weenie that goes all carbon, but the carbon looks pretty darn sweet. I love these things. I do swap them back and forth between the Stella and the Warbird, and it's a really neat setup. Coming soon, not out yet. Maybe, hopefully. I thought I saw it earlier. There it is. They may have something for us to see in time for the rat, maybe not, but their shock stop stem, which has been so amazing, they have a shock stop seat post coming very soon. So y'all be sure to let Tommy's and Redshift Sports both know how happy we are for them to be part of the RAT. So now let's kind of talk about the RAT some and answer a few of the questions that have been sent our way. This is an overview of the full 1,000-mile route with some of the planned stops, expected stops. Not all of these are finalized yet. We're still working on them. But the amenities list is, as far as the towns and what's available in those, that is available on the rat1000.com site there. I understand probably most of the questions that folks have are about some of the details of the RAT itself, and I'll be the first to admit it is confusing. We have a lot of moving pieces, a lot of new things that have been thrown into the mix this year. So hopefully we can make some of those gray areas a little more black and white for y'all. Again, if you have questions, email them. Don't use the Facebook dialog box because I won't be seeing that during this conversation. But email them to spinistry@gmail.com if you're on the live broadcast, and I'll check the email every couple minutes, see if there's another new question. But outside of that, we'll go with our sketch of notes of a few questions that were thrown out today. City limits rule. We'll start with that one. Somebody asked, we do have a little bit different rule within the city limits, and let me just kind of zoom in on a city and show you what I mean. And probably a good one for this will be, let's zoom in to, there's Honey Grove. Let's go back to Paris, because that's going to be, we'll be talking about Paris a good bit. So here is an example of the route kind of does this funky thing here inside the city limits of Paris. This actually goes to the fairgrounds and where our overnight spot is and all of that. The way the RAT rules work, you are expected to follow the route except for when you get into the city limits of a town, because we don't know what resources you want or need in any given town. We expect that you may go down here to this pharmacy to get a prescription filled, or that you may go up here to stay at this hotel that's over here, or you may go over here because there's a great restaurant you know about that you want to go to, or you have an Aunt Betty that you haven't seen in 100 years that you want to visit down here. That's all fine and good. When you're within the city limits, you don't have to follow the route that we have laid out in the city limits. But once you get outside of the city limits, you have to exit the city on our route, and you have to enter the city on our route. And just for Paris' sake, I don't know that these are specifically the city limits, but we're just using Loop 286 as a generic reference. So if you're coming, let's say the Loop 286 is the city limits in Paris, and if you don't want to stop, if you want to pick up some time, theoretically, you can just bolt through Paris in the most direct line and go from point A to point B. You just have to enter the city at the city limits and exit the city at the city limits. And that's true for all towns and cities along the way. Again, that's built around the premise that whatever amenities you may need to access are not the same as everyone else needs to access, and there's no way for me to read everyone's minds ahead of time and to make sure that you get to the amenities that you need to. So your own research is extremely important for the RAT route. You need to go to each of the towns with the expectation of finding the things ahead of time that you know that you'll need for yourself personally. The way we do lay the route out through the towns, generally speaking, and Roxton is a good example, there's not a whole lot in Roxton amenities-wise. We've got a camping area here along the net that people can use, and then there's one cafe and a quick store grocery store in town. So we make the route go there. If you're just following your GPS and you just want to get to something in each town, generally speaking, we're going to get you to, if the town only has one something, we're going to get you to that something in that town. And let's see. Just got another question from David. I'm going to go, he says, before the end of the show, remind us where the team discounts are. We'll go ahead and if you are logged into Bike Sign Up and you go to the Team Spinistry page, what's the registration page for Team Spinistry, And you can access, if I'm pretty sure it's on our Facebook page, the sign up link just goes to join Team Spinistry, or if you're on spinistry.com, there's a link to join Team Spinistry. If you're already a member, once you get to that page, the main page for Team Spinistry, if you're already a member, it'll display other information that's members only, and that information will include the team discounts and how to activate them and utilize them and things like that. Very good and important question there. So that's our city limits rule right there. Let me wet my whistle here. And go back to what other questions we had. How does it work? I park my car and go for a bicycle ride with all my crap. That is one way to ask the question. How does it work? Generally speaking, yeah, that's how it works. You park your car and you ride your bike with all your crap. Depending on which event, category, route, or whatever, there are different ways to look at that as well. So we're going to kind of push that question to the side for the moment, but it will get addressed when we talk about the different categories that we have this year. Explain the new Boston group start concept versus starting in Texarkana. I definitely understand why this might be confusing for some, and this is one that that's a very basic question we have. That's a fundamental reason why we're having this meeting. So let's kind of go back to Texarkana and New Boston. All right. So let's just start with the basics here. The RAT 1000 as a, for lack of a better term, a warm up for a Tour Divide type ride. That's the self-supported 1,000 mile Tour Divide rules event. That starts on, if you're going with the group departure, that starts from Texarkana on Saturday morning. That's for the self-supported Tour Divide type people, if they want to start in a group. Now, to throw a little kink in the works here, that route can be done at any time. It's available year-round to get an official time to do the self-supported ride. It's just once a year we do a group ride, a group departure on that self-supported one, and that leaves Saturday morning, October 6th from Texarkana. Theoretically, if you want to, you can leave on Friday or Thursday or whatever else. You just won't be rolling out with the big group on Saturday morning is the only difference. We could still record your time, etc. What we've added into the mix this year is an actual stage race, just like along the lines of the Tour de France that just ended, that's going to, instead of the self-supported guys where some may go as far as maybe just Avery the first night and spend the night in Avery, a bunch of others may go all the way to Paris, and others may go all the way down to Roxton before they ever go to sleep for the first time. The way the stage race will work is that's going to end at a set spot along the route each night, and then it's going to start at the same time the next morning. And the stage race is just timed from that town to the next town as the designated stages. So for that group of riders, the idea for them is they roll into Texarkana on their own schedule Friday, and they pedal untimed, but they still have to pedal from Texarkana to New Boston at their own schedule. They can roll in first thing Friday morning. They can get in late Friday night, and they just roll from Texarkana to New Boston, about 40 miles. And then in New Boston, we have overnight camping facilities arranged at the trailhead for the net. You see, I think it shows it. Whoops, wrong button. Satellite view. Yeah, this area here, the T&P trail, and all of this here, and these are bathrooms and I believe showers as well. I'll have to double check that they're showers. This is our hosting facility for Friday night. So stage racers can stay there. There's also hotels and motels. Any self-supported riders that want to start Friday and spend the night Saturday or Friday night with us, they're welcome to do that as well. Our mini rat riders and semi-supported riders, and I know I'm throwing a bunch of stuff out there at one time. We'll go over the different groups of events or ways to approach it. We'll break that down here momentarily. But anyone's welcome to stay with us in New Boston Friday night. The mileage still starts in Texarkana, though, for the stage racers. Other riders that are just doing the mini rat or shorter distances, they can start from New Boston if they choose to. And what we're hoping to do is probably, and again, this is one of those details that hasn't been narrowed down all the way yet, but kind of the idea is group departure folks, self-supported riders, Saturday morning will take off from Texarkana, say 5 or 5:30-ish. And about the time they're rolling through New Boston, that's about the time we'll start the stage race group as well. So everybody rolls out of New Boston about the same time on Saturday morning is kind of what we have in mind. And also part of the reason we're starting in New Boston, from Texarkana to Paris is a long haul. It is to the fairgrounds in Paris. 140, it's not showing, it's not, let me see it. I want to say it's 146 miles or something like that. So that's a long haul for a first day from Texarkana. If you do it from Boston, it chops about, again, 40 miles off of it. So it makes it about a 100-mile day, 105-mile day, something like that, which is much more manageable for people that, you know, almost everyone can pull off a century that first day. And the idea is you want to overnight in Paris. You really do, because that's going to be a big party. That's going to be a good time. We always, the Lamar County Fairgrounds take fantastic care of us. We've been staying there the past couple of years. Randy Freeman, she's setting up food and everything for us again. Anyone that's been to a Randy stop in the past, that's something that everybody does look forward to. So that's part of why we're kind of starting in New Boston, is we're trying for everyone but the self-supported group depart people. We want to make sure almost everyone can make it to Paris that first night. We realized last year that some people just couldn't make that first long day, so they overnighted in Avery, which is nice, and other places along the way. But we want to make it more viable for more people to make it to Paris on Saturday night, because Paris is really a big deal for us there. Let's see what other questions we have. Friday or Saturday start, that's what we, different categories, semi-supported and stage race. So let's go to the registration page real quick here and talk about some of these different categories and hopefully clear up a little bit of confusion on how this works. So Rat 1000 or Mini Rat self-supported group departure 10.5 to 10.6. Okay, this is the most basic self-supported. Nobody else is taking care of you. You do your own thing completely. Tour divide rules, with the exception of, you know, go wherever you want within the city limits. That's a rule of ours. That's a little bit different than similar events. So basically, think of this as true tour divide type event practice. We have it broken down into Rat 1000 or Mini Rat both, because basically you're signing up for self-supported, no assistance of any kind. And when you sign up for this one, you just get the routes in your email for every one of them. So even if you're just planning on doing the Mini Rat, you sign up for this one. Or if you're doing a half rat, we don't expect everyone to go out there and do 1,000 miles. We know not everyone has that time available to them to do that. So if you're good for 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, whatever works into your schedule, you're welcome to go whatever distance works into your schedule. So that's the self-supported one. And that's on the group departure. That's the main difference there, is that you plan to go out with the group on that weekend and overnight in Paris and that sort of thing. We also have just the self-supported ITT individual time trial that you can do any time of the year. If you're not available that first week of October to join us with the group departure, you're welcome to attempt the RAT anytime during the year. Ray Lamb just did it in June as an example. I don't think he'll ever do it in June again, but he did it. He did it in June, and he did it single speed, and he did it west to east. So you can do the ITT either direction any time of the year that you want to. Sign up for it. Let us know when you're going. We'll share your tracking with everyone. We'll log an official time and everything like that. And that reminds me, I need to check on that. I think I logged Ray's time, and I'll throw my apologies in here and my generic excuse that I have rolling at the moment. I think most of you do know this already, but I did have a pretty good knock on the head earlier this year. Had a pretty good concussion, so I do still have some memory issues. Not huge, but just some things just fall out of my head. So now I know I need to double check, make sure I did take care of getting Ray's times updated when he did that one. So that's the self-supported ITT. Here I am clicking on things I don't need to. And that is on any schedule. The next group we have is the semi-supported stage race. And this is semi-supported in multiple ways that we're going to chat about here. Again, this is meant to be more of the Tour de France type event where the time is just your actual time on the bike. Your sleeping time isn't counted into your overall time. It's just, how long did it take you to get from New Boston to Paris on stage 2? Stage 1 was an untimed Texarkana to New Boston, so that's a free time. But New Boston to Paris is the first stage for these guys, and that's all we time. They sleep that night. They get up the next morning. Everybody starts at the same time the next morning, and then they go to the next stage finish, which we haven't absolutely determined yet. We have an idea what we want to do. We'll talk about that in a moment. And then so on and so on for the full 1,000 miles. Why it is semi-supported, a couple of different reasons. And this is part of, we'll go back to this. Thank you, Tommy's High-Tech Auto Repair of Denton. You made us happy with the Spinistry mobile being back in service, because the semi-supported aspect of the stage race is they can have a team car that hauls their gear for them. If they don't have a team car, we will haul their gear for them, because I have to have the timing arch waiting for everybody at each stage anyway. And I've got Big Betty, the truck, ready to go now, so we can throw everybody's bags and stuff in there and take it from stage to stage. So the guys that are doing the stage race, they can travel light. They don't have to carry all their gear with them and everything like that. And it is semi-supported. They are allowed a team car. Team cars can meet them within the city limits of those towns, and that's also part of the city limits rule there. But we had the city limits rule before the stage race, so this is not a new thing to accommodate them, but it's something the stage racers are able to take advantage of, because they can have a team car in the city limits to reload and hydrate and everything like that. We'll have limited wrenching capabilities, no bike swaps allowed, but that's all detail stuff that we'll get to later. So that's the semi-supported stage race in a nutshell there. Semi-support can come from us, from Spinistry, to help these folks out, or they can have a team car as well. And that's the competitive stage race. So these guys are timed from stage to stage. We also, along the same lines, RAT 1000 folks that want to travel light, or mini RAT folks, as long as they're able to maintain that same stage schedule, I'll haul their gear as well, and they can roll light. So that's a different option. It's not 100% self-supported, but it's not 100% supported either. I'm not cooking meals for folks. I'm not putting their tents up or anything like that. I'm not reserving a hotel room, just hauling their gear from spot to spot. Another option we have that we're extremely excited about right now, Jan Bennett has come on board to offer a guided 3-day mini rat. And this one does actually include some partial support. There's some meals included with this, and some nutrition hand-ups and things like that. And all of your camping is included as well with this one. Definitely, if you're interested in the guided 3-day mini rat, we've got 13 spots left. I think we've had 3 or 4 that have signed up for it. Please do email any questions you have or special needs you think you may have and things like that. This group is not a race group by any stretch of the imagination, but in turn you do have to be physically capable to go, maybe not 120 miles a day, but we're probably trying to put something in the 75 to 100 mile a day range for those folks. And most people can pull that off if they're not having to carry gear, even if they're not completely in shape for multi-day, multi-100 mile days. Anyone that's been riding a bike with any regularity can pull off 2 or 3 days in a row, 75 to 100 miles, especially if they don't have to carry all their gear. And we can carry the gear for those folks if they don't have gear that's bike packable, for example, or if they just don't feel like they're up to carrying a load, we'll help them out that way. So we're really excited about this opportunity. We know there's a lot of people that are interested in bike packing, and with Jan's guidance and expertise along the way, along the way is mostly at the rally spots along the route each day, and then obviously the overnight. There's no way she can ride side by side with everybody and give them pedal stroke by pedal stroke tutorials or anything like that. So that's the guided 3-day mini rat. That's for people that are interested in bike packing but think that they might need a little bit of assistance just from information or suggestions, or just they want somebody knowledgeable to ride with for the first time. We have the Tiny Rat self-supported. This is the one this is our current free availability right now for anybody that wants to try a couple nights. If you are a Team Spinistry member, the self-supported Tiny Rat is free of charge. The $75 is waived for Team Spinistry members. All the others, 50% is waived for Team Spinistry members. And Rat Stage Schedule Relay. This is one that may or may not come to pass. We had somebody that requested that we offer the stage race, but in a relay race format where folks could hand off along the route. And I said, told this group, hey, if you can get 5 or 6 teams together to do this, we'll sort out what the rules are. I haven't heard anything from them since that initial discussion, so I don't know if this is going to come about. That said, if you are interested in a relay race format for the stage race, feel free to message me and let me know. And it's not necessarily something that we've discarded at the moment, but it wasn't anything that I had at the top of the list for this year. But if there's several teams that are interested in that, we'll find a way to make that happen for you guys. We want everybody to do what works for them. Bear with me. I'm going to have another quick sip of beer and then check emails, see if any other questions have come while I've been rambling. And while I check my emails, let's remind you of our sponsors. Let's see. Here's a question from Caleb, and I'm not screening this, so I'm going to just read it live. Caleb, I'm riding. It's late in the night. I'm tired. Is it legal safe to find a spot to camp off the road? I've heard some farmers will tie a ribbon on their fences to identify as a place to sleep. Is that true? I cannot speak to ribbons being designated sleeping spots. I haven't heard that one before myself. Part of what we're doing right now is we're trying to narrow down approved camping areas in nearly every town, at least for Rat Week. We want to make them available all the time and year round. So we expect by Rat Week to have multiple options available for camping. And let's go to the map here. These are campsites that we already know about that are available along the way. It's not, here's a big gap here from Denison to Lake Arrowhead State Park. I'm sorry, there's something in Henrietta. I know that. There we go. So from Denison to Henrietta, there's a big gap there that at the moment, we don't know about a camping spot that's available in any of these towns, but it doesn't mean we're not going to find out about some. For example, I know in Munster, it's a ways off the route, but if you just got to have a cool camping spot, the folks at 4 Hour Ranch will likely let folks stay there. Police department in Nakona has given us permission to camp on their grounds in the past. I expect they'll do the same. I just haven't reached out to them yet for this year. And there's probably something elsewhere along the way. So before October 6th, we should have a very complete list of camping facilities along the way. And I wouldn't expect that you'll ever have to go more than 20 or 30 miles without what's an official and approved camping spot. That said, going back to Caleb's question, is it legal to, sleep in a ditch? Well, it's probably legal to sleep in a ditch. It's the right of way. You probably don't want to do it. It's not the safest thing. Now, if you cross that farmer's fence and decide to sleep in their shed or something like that, then you're getting into the realm of trespassing. But along those lines, we've heard of that happening before, and the farmers come out and woken the bicyclists up and made them a pot of coffee the next morning. So we don't encourage trespassing or anything like that by any stretch of the imagination, and we do plan to have as many camping facilities laid out ahead of time and identified for y'all to use on an as-needed basis. I hope that answers your question well enough. Here's another question from David. Can self-supported risers use stage race campsites if we come across them? That's a yes and a no at the moment. More than likely, the way this is going to work after Paris for self-supported. Self-supported, Paris and New Boston are neutral for all riders on group departure week. So that is one of the benefits of doing the group depart. You will have prearranged camping, and you're welcome to the meals at those spots as well, even if you are self-supported. Most likely for self-supported neutrality, that's going to end at Paris, most likely. You may come across campgrounds that we're using for the stage racers as well, but you would have to pay for your own campsite if you chose to stay there. And I say again, that's most likely. If we're able to stretch those stages and offer group camping for everyone on a neutral basis, I wouldn't mind doing that. I just don't know that that's going to be something we're able to pull off. More than likely, what I'm going to have to do is pay for accommodations just for a very specific group of people. And so that would be outside the realm of self-supported. If I paid for group accommodations and then you just gave me $5 or something like that, would be outside of that realm. You would actually have to go to the campsite manager yourself, and if it's a $25 a night tent camping fee, you would have to pay that. But again, that's something that I'm concentrating on over the next couple weeks, is really narrowing down the amenities that are available for, I want to narrow down what the stage cities are themselves and what amenities we have. And I'll kind of go over where we're at on that momentarily here. Let's go back to, so we covered all the categories there. I hope that straightened out some of the confusion related to those. If after we've been through all that, you still have questions about the different categories and how they work, definitely email me, spinistry@gmail.com. I haven't mentioned that in a while. If you're on the live broadcast, I'm not able to see the discussion, the comments box on Facebook right now. Email me, spinistry@gmail.com. If you're on the live feed and have a question, I'll reference my email from time to time and get back to you on that. Obviously, if you're watching this on a delay, go ahead and put your comments in the comment box, and I'll get notification as new comments are added, and I'll be able to answer questions after the broadcast is over as those come across. So we're not going to go over the entire amenities list and 1,000-mile route right now or anything like that. Again, we'll probably be doing these on a somewhat regular basis between now and rat departure. Probably every couple of weeks we'll have another session, another Q&A sort of thing. And I'm hoping maybe we can have some live meetings as well, some live group discussions as well. We'll see if we can pull that off. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to I'm going to walk through what we have in mind at the moment and where we're at with the different stage spots. The stage, I don't think I'm going to be able to go over. Yeah, for whatever reason, it doesn't show me my my mileage queue like it normally does. It's being hidden up here for some reason, but oh well. So I'm not going to say what the mileage is, but generally speaking, for the stages, they're all in the 120 to 135 mile range, generally speaking. And you don't have to be a stage racer to follow the stage schedule. You're welcome to do it as a self-supported rider. Semi-supported riders are welcome to tag along for the stages as well. And, folks can double up in hotel rooms if they don't want to use the camping facilities we locate for them and things like that. But let me walk through what we have in mind for the stages at the moment. But please do understand this is by no means final. We still have a lot of work to do in between. We're working from both ends in to try to make arrangements. So Texarkana, technically speaking, we have no arrangements for accommodations of any kind in Texarkana. It is intended for people that are doing the stage race or following the stage schedule just to roll in on Friday at their own schedule, roll out of Texarkana and follow the route for 40 miles on Friday into New Boston. And this New Boston, this is something we have established and set. We have camping facilities arranged at the trailhead for the net trail that you're welcome to stay at that night. There are also hotels in Holiday Inn Express. There's a Holiday Inn Express. There's a couple of Notel motels, Tex Inn Motel. So in New Boston, there are facilities there. We don't know what the exact start time is. Probably 8 or 8:30, since it's a shorter day from New Boston to Paris, and that again allows time for the group departure folks from Texarkana that are starting between 5 and 5:30 to everybody meet up here and roll from New Boston at the same time. And then overnight in Paris. This is our stage stop on Saturday, is Paris. And this is arranged. We have Lamar County Fairgrounds, which we've used for the past couple years. Lamar County's been amazing to us. And this is a stop you don't want to miss. Everybody wants to go to Paris. Everyone wants to spend the night in Paris. That's hugely important. If you can make Paris on Saturday night, make Paris on Saturday night. Everything else, do your own schedule from that point on. But I highly encourage anyone that has it possibly within them to get to Paris on Saturday night, however that works. Another sip here, bear with me. Okay, so that one is final and that is established. From here to almost the end, nothing else is established yet, but we expect them to be in the next couple days, or a couple weeks, I should say. What we're shooting for on Sunday night is to stay here in the Denison area, and there are multiple options. There's Eisenhower State Park, which is a fallback if we need to, which is just off the route. And then there's a couple of campsites here, Burns Run East and Burns Run West. I just need to verify, these are probably what we'll be shooting for here. I just need to verify their availability schedule. I think they close October 1st technically, but I think there's still a loop that's open. So I just need to nail that one down. But again, also very close to Denison. So if folks want to hotel, especially stage racers, if you have a team car or something like that that can shuttle you, we'll have hotels available in Denison. So then from Denison, the plan is to go to Henrietta the next night after that. There is a campground here. We haven't made arrangements yet. I need to nail down the Denison one to make sure Henrietta is our next stop. Go in that direction. So that's what we have in mind. So if Denison works out, I'm confident in Henrietta. And then from Henrietta, we go to Vernon. And this one, again, it's dependent upon Denison working out, then Henrietta working out, then the mileage makes sense for Vernon. And I'm pretty confident that we will get to all these stages. They're just not finalized yet. The only issue with Vernon is so far I have not found a viable camping facility of any sort. So we may have to rent some private property, or depending on how many participants sign up for the different, if it's just a few that we have to make accommodations for, maybe we'll book a couple hotel rooms or something like that. So that said, Vernon's a pretty good sized town. There's going to be options there. I just haven't started really exploring them yet because I have to nail down Denison and Henrietta, and then I can put a lot of time in on Vernon to find something. It is a big enough town that I do expect there to be something there. I just haven't done a lot of research because it might be spinning my wheels, because we may not be overnighting there yet at all. Excuse me. Then the idea from Vernon is to Childress, working from memory. That sounds right. There's camping options in Childress. There's several camping options before Childress, and there's some cool camping options after Childress as well. So, excuse me. This one I'm leaving extremely flexible at the moment because it is so dependent on the other dominoes falling the right way. That said, there's enough flexibility to the west and enough flexibility to the east of Childress that we'll be able to make something work somewhere between, you know, from Esteline to Quanah. There's several options. So the mileage will work out that way. And then depending on how the mileage works out, the plan is to overnight in Silverton for the stage after that. But we can also do Kittikay and Caprock Canyon State Park. Turkey has, I have facilities in Turkey that I know that I can access anytime. These are actually year-round facilities, very nice as well. So lots of flexibility in that range. We just got to see how the dominoes fall. Silverton is plan A at the moment. And then from Silverton, we go all the way to Vega. And Vega is a definite as far as a location that we're able to stop. What's not definite yet is the facilities we'll be using. Vega has agreed to host us that Friday night towards the end of the RAT. I believe it's Friday the 13th. Or maybe it's the 12th. So Vega has agreed to host us. We just don't know what the facilities are there yet. And all of these towns that I'm saying are stage ends, there are hotels available there as well. That's part of what we're shooting for, why we're wanting those towns. You're not necessarily going to have to camp every night if you're stage racing. I'm not buying your hotel room for you, but I will carry your gear and carry a little bag that you can take back and forth to the hotel with you if you need to, if you don't want to camp. And then from Vega, finish in Tucumcari. And we will not have group stage camping in Tucumcari because we know everybody's just going to kind of scatter to the wind and do their own thing once they get to Tucumcari. We think, and that's part of the if we do this stage race thing and everybody's the circus is just rolling from town to town to town. Hey, maybe Tucumcari ends up being a big wrap up party. That would be kind of cool, but we don't know. This isn't the stage race aspect is a new thing. Looks like, let's see here, another mini route preview. Can we see a preview of the guided mini route? That is, so the current idea, and Jan and I have pretty much agreed what this looks like and roughed it out. We just haven't finalized the maps and everything like that. So the guided mini rat, the idea is it starts in New Boston Friday night with everybody and goes to Paris for that 100-mile route. And then I'm working from memory here. And again, my memory is not so great at the moment. Where are we at? Honeygrove, sorry. There's Paris. So day one for the mini rat is New Boston to Paris, about 100 miles. Day two was from Paris, following most of this route, and then stopping at Bonham State Park. And I want to say that's like an 85-mile day. So 100 miles the first day, 75 to 85 miles the second day, overnight in Bonham State Park. We'll also we'll have a barbecue dinner for folks at Bonham State Park that are on the guided mini rat. Again, this is the guided mini rat, tagging along with Jan. It's a bike packing, rolling education session is basically what it is. And then, so that will be Saturday night in Paris, Sunday night at Bonham State Park, and then Monday take their own route that basically goes down. There we go. Bonham to Ladonia, take the net into Farmersville, and you can stop in Farmersville if you wish. I want to say that's like 70 miles, but we have it where the route actually follows mostly pretty good safe roads into Rowlett, and we'll share this map soon, but you can pick up the DART station near Rowlett Creek Preserve. So it's still less than 100 miles for that day, even if you go all the way to the train station. So hopefully that answers your questions in a very rough draft form, David. That's kind of what the guided mini rat looks like. You can stop in Farmersville or catch the go another 15 or 20 miles to Rowlett and catch the train to anywhere else in the Metroplex. And ultimately, you can take the train and catch Amtrak down to Austin or San Antonio or up to Oklahoma City as well. But that's a whole different ball of wax as far as those logistics go. And those are the types of things that as we get more people doing this, people will find different solutions for the travel and so forth. And that brings me back to one. I know this is a very major concern, topic of conversation, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How do I get to Texarkana and ride my bike, or how do I get back from Tucumcari? There's just no way for us to put those logistics together for each individual's needs, unfortunately. Over the years, we've looked at different ways to try to pull it off, and there's just no practical way to do it. We can't charter buses or anything like that. What I did myself last year, I took Amtrak to Texarkana and rolled from Texarkana that way, and that worked fantastic. The caveat on that is I think they only have room for 8 bikes each day on Amtrak that goes into Texarkana. So if that's something that might interest you, you might want to check reservations and see if bike space is available, or if those have already been taken Thursday, Friday, or whatever fits into your schedule. That did work fantastic on my end, and I enjoyed that trip. Getting back from Tucumcari, and this is a a realm of disappointment for me at the moment. What we were trying to do in conjunction with that Vega overnight, we were hoping to actually put on a single day event out of Vega to try to draw some people, maybe from DFW for a one-day ride or from Amarillo for a one-day ride that might be able to help folks. They might go pick up people in Tucumcari and shuttle them to Amarillo or maybe all the way back to DFW. Unfortunately, Vega was not receptive to having a bicycle event during the day that day. They're open arms and look forward to us spending the night before, but they aren't. It doesn't fit into their weekend for us to have a bicycle event there, and that's nothing against Vega. So don't take like Vega's been fantastic to us. It's just all my fingers crossed for maybe all these pieces to come together. Those are pieces that didn't come together. We're going to still try to look for something along those lines to encourage some folks to go out towards Tucumcari and ride their bikes, and might have an extra space on a bike rack and seat in their car to get you at least to Amarillo, and more options to get home wherever home may be for you. Also, that is part of why we wanted to do the stage race and the semi-supported and things like that. That gets more people that are ending on exactly the same day. So if one person has a friend or a spouse or family member or whatever that's willing to come pick them up, hey, maybe they can pick up another person or two as well. So helps along those lines. And that's been the biggest logistical issue on arranging transportation, is everybody just ends up on such a spread out schedule. Obviously everybody starts pedaling their bike on day one going, well, I want to be done in 8 days. They may get done in 7, they may get done in 10 ultimately, or they may not finish at all. So it's kind of like trying to predict the weather that far out. There's just no way to be that certain about it. And the best laid plans get thrown to the wind. Check my emails again one more time here. I think we'll give it a minute here. Wow, this one went almost an hour. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to talk that long. One last plug, and I'll do this plug. If you have a question, send it to spinistry@gmail.com while I'm doing this plug if I miss something important. Or, like I said, we'll be doing more of these. So if you have more questions, go ahead and put together a list. And the next session, we'll knock out any other questions that are still hanging at the moment. But spinistrygear.com, I want to thank y'all. We really kind of kicked it off this week to a little bit of a next level, and we have sold out of a bunch of stuff already. We're down to just one of these black riding gravel shirts, I do believe. One Riot jersey that's left. The white Rasta jersey, we're down to our last 3 and 4. I think there's only like one of each size. There's no multiples in any size except maybe men's small. I think we have 2 men's small. So if there's any of this stuff that you're looking at, we just put this one up earlier today, I believe. So these are Irwin Park Trail Rider t-shirts. There's quite a few of those. But almost everything else on here, we're down to the last 1 or 2 of those. So thank y'all for the success on spinistrygear.com. Again, Team Spinistry members do get automatic discount. We sent an email with that coupon code. So it's not an automatic discount. Let me correct that. The one item we do have a pretty good stock of right now is actually these pedal to the metal jerseys. And this picture does not do these things justice. These things are awesome. We sold a bunch of these in conjunction with the Special Olympics Texas pedal to the metal event, and we went ahead and ordered extras. So what the deal is on these, and like I said, these are absolutely gorgeous. The profit proceeds on these all go to Special Olympics. So we ordered an extra bunch of these. So any of these that you buy, the profits go to Special Olympics. We'll actually have bibs and shorts in this week that match these, and a new Spinistry design that we'll be showing off very shortly. We have bibs in now. I actually need to pack those up and get them mailed to people that pre-ordered them, that match the white Rasta jersey and the Riot jersey and the Rasta Spinistry cap. So we have matchy stuff for all of this. We have matchy stuff that matches this, and we'll also match the bibs and shorts will match the new jersey that will be released hopefully maybe tomorrow or the next day. They're supposed to be on the way to us, and these are kind of a surprise. We didn't tell anybody about these. We haven't released any of the art or anything like that. So anyway, thank y'all for the support on SpinistryGear.com. It's going pretty darn well, better than we expected. Now we're probably going to kind of be up against the wall in that, hey, it was almost too successful. We're about out of everything. We do have a few new items coming in, and that's and this will be a new learning experience for me, this inventory management and stuff like that. So please give me some patience on that. But we also welcome any ideas that you guys have. If there's something you want to see from Spinistry Gear, socks are on the list of things we want to do, for example. We have a few other things. We have a really cool long sleeve jersey idea in mind that I think with our buddies at Starlight Custom Apparel we're going to be able to help with as well. So that said, check my email one last time. I'm right at an hour of rambling. I apologize for stretching it out so long. I don't have any more emails. So good night, everybody. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for paying attention. And I'll let you know the next time we have a rat meeting and information schedule. Again, email any questions you have, spinistry@gmail.com, or post them on the comments here. I'll get through them throughout the evening as more comments come up. Good night, everyone.